Okay, welcome everybody. We have some new faces here today, a few. So we're going to give a little bit of an introduction to the way that the shiur usually works, and to the way that the Likutei Moharan works, and a little bit of an introduction to this Torah. Before we do that, everybody is invited to, tell people about this Torah that we're learning here. The Torahs of Rebbe Nachman are very deep and very special and unique and life-changing, and everyone should have an opportunity to hear them. This Torah that we're learning starting tonight, Torah Vav, is out of this world. It's like an incredible experience to be able to learn this Torah. So we have a poster here that's available online, and everybody should speak to their friends, especially anyone who is in need of encouragement and who's in need of chizuk, and anyone who has experienced difficulty in their life should be made known about this shiur, and they should have an opportunity to hear these words. It's going to be very special. Secondly, I want to say we have Avra Alter here. She's the main force in Toronto that's connected to Rav Shalom Arush, and Rav Arush is going to be here. We have another poster up on the walls already. He's going to be here surrounding the date Monday, November 4th. And we hope to have a lot of kesher with him and to be involved together with him. And everybody is encouraged to connect with Avra if they want to be able to have a meeting with Rav Arush, and if they want to be able to come to the talks that he gives. It's a very special experience, a very special tzaddik to be around. Once again, something that no one should miss. The ability to sit across the table and have a meeting one-on-one with such a tzaddik is very, very special.
What's your name?
Yes, and if they are, as it stands now, it looks like they've asked me to translate at some of the events that Rav Arush will be doing, and so I will be there as well. We'll have some nice music, Heimish music. It's going to be gewaldic. It's going to be very special. Okay, so let's get right into it. So often, this is the introduction to the uniqueness, depth, and specialness of Likutei Moharan. So often when people think of Breslov, they will think of, people dancing on top of a van and music and all this kind of thing, right? Which is something that is made popular by the Nanach sect of Breslov and holy, happy people, Baruch Hashem. And before I was introduced to the Torah of Rebbe Nachman and Breslov Chassidus, whenever I would hear something about Breslov, I thought it was very fluffy. I always heard one-liners, like Breslov, mitzvah gadol liyos b'simcha. It's a mitzvah to always be happy, right? And you have to have emunah. And little tiny sound bites that I was like, okay, it's fluff. Yeah, of course you have to be happy and you have to have emunah, but I never really didn't go into me so much. I didn't really know what was going on. It happened to be by chance that in the shul here, we started 4 years ago, because there was a few people who were interested in the Likutei Moharan. I said, okay, let's try in our regular Shabbos afternoon shiur. We were learning other types of Chassidus. I said, let's open the Likutei Moharan. Why not? So we started learning the Likutei Moharan, and I started reading through it, and I went through one paragraph, and I was like, okay, interesting. And went through another paragraph, and I was like, oh, hey, there's some substance here. Another couple of paragraphs, and then all of a sudden, we saw how Rebbe Nachman took all those things that we had just learned and put them together and connected them in the most deep, amazing, beautiful way. I was like mind blown. I was like, whoa, this is not what I expected. I found that Likutei Moharan is very complicated and very deep and incredibly inspiring. I didn't expect there to be this depth and this, you have to think. It's difficult to learn. It's hard. You have to really pay attention. You have to concentrate. I was blown away. And so we started from the very beginning of Likutei Moharan. I went through a few of the Torahs, the 1 to 5, and every one kept getting a little bit more exciting than the last one. And I kept thinking to myself, wow, there's really something to this. And I kept getting pulled more and more into it. And then we started learning this Torah, Torah Vav, Torah number 6. And from the time I started learning this Torah, my eyes were opened in a way that they'd never been opened before. I found myself at one point, I'll tell you when we get to that point, probably in a few weeks from now. I'm driving along listening to a shiur, going through this Torah from Nachman Maimon, and I had to pull over the car and I started screaming because it was so amazing and so mind-blowing, and what was happening affected me on such a powerful level. I couldn't drive anymore. I couldn't just sit where I was. It was so amazing. And I said at the time, I felt like at that particular time, I felt like whether or not I would be connected to Rabbi Nachman, my free will in this matter had been taken away. Like I had no choice anymore. It was such a powerful, powerful experience. And every time I think about this Torah, you know, I was with my kids. I took them to an indoor trampoline jumpy place because it's the last week before school, right? And I brought this with me to start preparing. And I opened up this sefer that's right in front of me, and I started reading through the first few words. And I already could not contain myself. I had to close the book. The emotions were all coming back to me about this Torah and how powerful it is that I had to stop and take some breaths and think a little bit and you know, remember some of this Torah with how special it is. And then I was able to start again and go through it. But it affected me on such a powerful level. I found out later, after, that it's brought down in Likutei Moharan and the book Through Fire and Water, which is very, very much recommended. The book Through Fire and Water is a retelling of Reb Noson's life story. Reb Chaim Kramer wrote it. It's in English, and it's really, really amazing. It's unbelievable. But he tells over there how a few of Rabbi Nachman's students felt this same kind of thing, that they felt that they had a suspension of their free will through hearing the Torah of Rabbi Nachman, because it affected them on such a level. I thought, you know, I'm building this up a lot, right? Yeah. My wife said to me today, "You're building this up a lot, you know. I hope it's gonna deliver." Right? So I felt also that after I learned this Torah, I still feel this way. I felt that I will never find another piece of Torah ever that will compare to this. And that's not depressing. That's amazing. That's fantastic, because there's multiple layers to keep peeling back in this Torah, and there's such connectivity and such depth in this that we can keep going back to it. As I'm learning it now for the second and third time, I'm seeing new things, and we can always go deeper in the Torah of Rabbi Nachman. But, so there's a lot to talk about. The way that we learn over here is we try to hold off questions until the end so that we can get through the material. If you have a question that is based on preventing you from continuing on understandings of what's going on, you could ask it. But to make additions and to just comment, we'll save that for the end. And we stay as long as people want to have questions and answers afterwards. Okay? And anything else? Yeah, so a little bit of sort of guidance in learning Likutei Moharan if it's your first time in depth. So, like I said, it's deep and it's complicated, and we try to give something in every separate section that is meaningful to us. But if you really want to understand the depth of Rabbi Nachman and you want to really get what this Torah is saying, you have to pay attention and you have to review and you have to treat it as a study, as something you're really, really trying to do. Not just I'm coming to a shiur, I want to listen, and then I'm going to go home and, you know, put my feet up. Try to review during the week. Try to, the shiurim are posted online, and try really hard to follow along and to pay attention in every step of the way, because that's how you'll get the big picture, which is really where everything comes into play. Also, Rabbi Nachman was very, very strong, and I hope that someone will remind me, please, here. Everyone can remind me on the WhatsApp group that I want that we should put out for everybody, whenever we're learning a new Torah, the Likutei Tefillahs from that Torah. So what's Likutei Tefillahs? Rabbi Nachman felt very strongly that no one should learn Torah just to learn it, and as I said, go home and put your feet up and forget it. I'm going to go to a shiur, I'm going to hear something nice, and that's it, right? Not the derech of Rabbi Nachman at all. Rabbi Nachman held that the Torah that we learn is meant to become part of us, is meant to go into our hearts, into our souls, and is meant to affect us in a profound way and change us and have an effect on our lives. So he held, how do we do that? Every time we learn something of importance, we turn it into a tefillah. We turn it into a prayer. And then, when we finish learning, every day, while we're in the subject, while we're learning this subject, we say this tefillah about what we're learning. Because a tefillah, as we've talked about many times in this group, a tefillah in depth is what's going to connect the mind to the heart. It's what's going to bring it inside of us and change us. So Rabbi Nachman's main student, wrote down tefillahs. He composed these unbelievable, beautiful tefillahs for every one of Rabbi Nachman's Torahs. So someone should please remind me that we should get that out to the group, copies of this tefillah. I have it in Hebrew and English, that we should be able to, while we're learning this Torah, let's give it all we got, right? Let's try to bring it into ourselves. Let's try to make it part of us, as opposed to just make it, an intellectual stimulation. Let's really try to make it part of us. Okay, everybody on board? I'm not asking for a commitment, don't worry. Okay, so with that, we're going to start Torah Vav. This Torah begins with the pasuk. Does everybody have something they can look at if they desire to? Yeah? Okay. Mommy, can you help out there? Good. Okay, the pasuk. The Torah begins with the pasuk. Vayomer Hashem al Moshe, Kra es Yehoshua. Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Kra es Yehoshua. Call out to Yoshua. V'hiz yatzvu, it's not written here, but the pasuk continues, V'hiz yatzvu ba'oil moyed v'atzavenu. And stand him up in the oil moyed, in the tent of meeting, in the Mishkan. This is the place where Hashem is telling Moshe Rabbeinu to bring Yoshua in and to start to pass the mantle towards him. Start to transfer the leadership to him. Start to give Yoshua what he needs. And he told him to bring him into the Mishkan, into the tent of meeting, to start this process. That's the pasuk. We're not going to see this pasuk now till the end of the Torah, in maybe 2 months from now, right? So let's begin. Aleph. Ki tzarich kol adam lama'it bichvod atzmoi u'laharbois bichvod hamakom. Because every person must minimize his own honor and increase the honor of Hashem. Because someone who chases after honor, he does not merit this thing called kavod elokim, which means, let's call it godly honor. Ella l'chavod shalmalachim. Rather, he merits the honor of kings, meaning flesh and blood honor. We're going to explain all this, don't worry. Shnei amar boy, the pasuk says in Mishlei, kavod malachim chakar davar, that kavod malachim, this type of honor that is attached to human beings, such as kings, kavod malachim chakar davar, is something that is to be chakar. The word chakar comes from the word chakira, which means to research something, to look into it, to see what it's all about. Meaning what? V'hakol choykrim acharav v'shayelim. Everyone is looking after this person and looking and trying to see, figure out, research about this person and asking, Mihuzeh, who's this person? Ve'ezehu shecholkim lo kavod hazeh, and who are these people that are giving this person such honor? In other words, there's a type of honor that when a person has it, it doesn't quite seem right. And everybody looks at this person and is like, what's so special about this person? That this person should be so honored? Why is everybody looking up to this person? What's so special about this person? Right? To use a very crude example, right? You could look at the President of the United States. This is absolutely not political. I'm not getting into anything like this, right? But you could look at the President of the United States, no matter who he is. Everyone from some side is looking after this person and cannot stand him and is saying, this person everyone wants to honor, what about this that he did? What about this that he did? What about this that he did? And they really did do those things, right? This person is not deserving of honor, and everybody knows it, and everybody is looking and seeing that, right? Mashen came, and then they're going to disagree with him, and they're going to go against him. And they're going to say, this person is not fitting of the honor that's been given to him. But someone who runs away from honor, that he limits his own honor, and he lifts up and increases and raises up the honor of Hashem, then he's going to merit this thing that's called kavod Elokim, the honor of Hashem, godly honor. And then people don't look, investigate into him. This is the person that people look at and say, this is a tzaddik. This is a person who's deserving of honor. And they see it. And they don't need to try to tear him apart and try to find where this person's coming from. Right? I'm sure everybody knows people like this. Right? Think about very special, holy people that you know of. There's certain people that are just, no one's trying to go against them. You could look into the Torah world and see, Reb Chaim Kanievsky is a great example. Chaim Kanievsky is a holy, holy person, a humble person. Lines of people coming to see him every single day. It never stops, right? And people aren't in the news trying to pull him down. Look at just any other great tzaddikim. Think of someone that we all know quite well. Many of us know quite well. Rav Chaim Kramer. Humble, unassuming person. He doesn't like being called rabbi. If you call him rabbi, he says, Chaim, thank you. When he was here, I tried to give him a nice seat right up in the front, a seat of honor. Flat out refused. And I said, come on, just it's nice. You're a guest speaker. You should come sit here. And he's like, nope. Like with akshanis, with stubbornness, he flat out refused. Right? He's running away from honor, and that's a person who everyone respects. No one's looking at him trying to pull him down, trying to find. No one assumes there's anything untoward about this person. Right? That's a totally different level of honor. Imhu ro'im lav, whether he's fitting for his position or not. Ve'alav ne'emar. And on this type of person, the pasuk continues that we said over before. We said kavod malachim chakar davar, that the kavod malachim, the honor of kings, is something that is looked into, that is researched, that is questioned, right? But on this person, the pasuk continues kavod elakim haster davar, the honor of Hashem, the godly honor, is a hidden matter. It's hidden. Ki asur lachkar al hakavod hazeh, because it's forbidden to look into this type of honor, to research, to go into this type of honor. Okay, so let's go back and unpack this a tiny bit, because there's a lot that we said over here. So, first of all, we see in another Torah, I believe it's in Torah Yud Beis in the second chelik of Likutei Moharan, Rabbi Nachman says a profound statement that we've said a few times. He says like this. He says, whatever situation a person finds themselves in, if they're not sure what is the right thing to do, they need to only ask themselves one question. And that question is, someone's mouthing it over in the back there, is what I'm about to do going to bring honor to Hashem? Is this going to bring kavod to Hashem? And if it's going to bring kavod to Hashem, I'm going to do it. And if it's not going to bring kavod to Hashem, I'm not going to do it. Or at least that's what I'm going to know what to do or what not to do. And everybody always asks, oh, come on, is it that simple? Is it? Right? And the answer is, it's absolutely that simple. It's just that simple. Wherever you find yourself in a difficult situation, you can ask this question and you'll always have the right answer. Right? Why? Why is it so important to give honor to Hashem? What's the story over here? So there's a pasuk in Yeshaya that says, Kol hanivra bishmi ulechvoidi barasiv. Everything that I created in the world, I created for my honor. Everything in the world is meant to honor Hashem. Our whole purpose in existence is meant to honor Hashem. And it's not an accident that this Torah puts these two things into the same sentence. That the pasuk that we said puts the honor of men and the honor of Hashem in one pasuk. Why? Because they can't both exist at the same time. You can't try to honor yourself while simultaneously trying to honor Hashem. It does not happen. It doesn't work. We also have a very famous Gemara that tells us someone who's a Bal Gaiva, who's an arrogant person. The Gemara says about him that Hashem says, this person and me cannot exist together. It doesn't work. Bringing honor onto ourselves, allowing our ego to inflate, is in direct opposition to the purpose of creation, is in direct opposition to the honor of Hashem, which is the purpose of creation in a certain sense. L'chvoidi b'rasiv, I created it all for my honor. So, in this realm, we have we have different ways of acting, different ways of being. Can you think of people that you know? Can you think of yourself more importantly? Right? Anything that we do, we're going to come on to this in a very, very deep way shortly. That doesn't even mean that I have to be a person who wants all the kavod, who stands up and says, "Look at me, everybody," and puts their name on everything, that every donation they ever give, and is always trying to raise themselves up, and as we said before, use their stature, their knowledge to have authority over other people in such a negative way, right? Just an egotistical person. It doesn't even necessarily mean that. But it means also that the way that I live my life, right? Think of something that the way that you behave that you want to change about yourself, right? Whatever it is, everyone has their things, right? So I like to use the example of food because it's often the least personal to many people, because it's something that everyone deals with to a certain extent, right? So imagine if you're a person who has a problem overeating and they want to stop, and they feel like they're behaving in a way that is not befitting of their holy neshama, right? Not just that they want to lose weight, but that there's an honorable reason in it, right? So why does that person keep failing, right? What is that person doing? Are they honoring themselves? Are they egotistical? So in a certain sense, there is some of that. Why? Because I'm giving to myself. I'm ignoring what I know that Hashem wants me to do. I'm asking myself that question, is, eating these nachos right now going to bring honor to Hashem? Right? Is eating this piece of chocolate cake right now going to bring honor to Hashem? And I know the answer is no, right? And I do it because I'm giving to myself. I'm building myself up. I'm making myself feel good, right? In that same way, I'm pulling away from Hashem and pulling towards myself, right? Make sense to everybody? Yeah? So, let me just see this 1 second. So there's a way, so let's think about this. Does anybody have any questions on this, like kashas, a difficulty? Yeah? Audrey?
Well, I was just wondering,
yeah.
You want to be good, you don't want to go to that chocolate cake,
Yeah.
or something that you shouldn't be doing. But what is the role of our will as opposed to the lashon hara? I mean, the yetzer hara, I'm sorry.
What is the, what? One more time? What is the...
Our will
Yeah.
wants to do good things.
Yeah.
Our will say, I want to have a healthy body.
Yeah.
I don't want to have a problem with cholesterol anymore.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't be eating this.
Right.
I know I should be exercising.
Right. Yeah.
But then there's also the yetzer hara.
100%. Absolutely. That's what we live with. That's the way the system is built, to be able to give us this exact point of choice. Because if there was no delicious food, then no one would have this question even. We wouldn't be talking about it right now. If we didn't have a pull towards it, there's no fight. Right? Hashem put us here to be able to have a fight to choose the right thing to do. Right? For sure. It's part of it. We should thank Hashem. Every second we face a challenge. Right? Every moment that we face something difficult, we should right away say, thank you, Hashem. Okay? We had this last night in our house. Something came up that we weren't expecting in a certain realm. And right away, what did we say? Thank you, Hashem. Okay, now we have to deal with it. But I know it's from you. I know we have to deal with it. That's the way we have to face it. So we should all say, thank you, Hashem, for making me want to eat food this way, for giving me this challenge. No question. That's Hashem giving us a chance to grow and to become closer to Him. Very important. But we may want to ask ourselves the question here. So what do you do? Let's say you're a person and people want to honor you. Right? So I'm going to pick on someone here right now. They won't be happy. But so you have someone like my friend Ava over here, who she's really not going to be happy with me here. Sorry. But so she does a lot for Breslov in Toronto. And she organizes everything for these different people that come in, and she has the svarim and the books, and she, you could call her, and she's making arrangements, and she's doing all this stuff. I know you hate this, sorry. So people are going to say, hey, that's fantastic. You're doing amazing. Imagine all of the Torah you're bringing into Toronto, all the people you're having an effect on, all your work is doing so much good, you're doing great. Wow, you are deserving of honor. So what does such a person say in such a case? Whoa. She's got the right answer. Does someone just say, quiet, I don't want to talk to you. Stop it, right? Or does someone use false humility and say, well, really, I'm not good at this stuff. Actually, she's good at it, right? So how do you have kavod Elokim when someone is honoring you? How do you do that? So exactly like Barbara just said, you say, thank you, Hashem, for giving me the skills, the koiches, the talents to be able to do this. Thank you, Hashem. Hashem gave me this. Hashem gave me the ability to do this. Hashem gave me, Hashem keeps me going. Thank you, Hashem. And you recognize where all your strength comes from, where all your talents come from. It's ridiculous to think of, you have a person, everybody knows this around here, you have children. If you've even seen any children, you know that some children are born with the propensity to something. Some children are born with a certain talent. Some children, for example, in music, just have a natural inclination to music. And from the time they're little, they can sing on pitch, and they have rhythm, right? And as soon as they start learning instruments, it just comes naturally, and they're amazing, and it just goes. And then you have another kid who has the same opportunities and just isn't good because he doesn't have the natural talent. It takes that person 20 times the practicing to be able to get up to that person, and then it still doesn't sound as good, right? So how could that person take credit themselves for their expertise in music? Yeah, I am amazing. What do you mean you're amazing? You were born with a great talent, right? If you worked as hard as that other guy, you'd probably even be better, right? So you say, Baruch Hashem. Hashem gave me this talent for music, right, Menachem? Hashem gave me a feel for music. He put into me the ability to be a musical person. Thank you, Hashem. That's putting the honor in the right place, right? So it's very important. It's very important. So one last thing before we move on and get to the real juicy stuff. So the pasuk tells us, and Rebbe Nachman's explaining, that we're saying, kavod Elokim haster davar, that the honor of Hashem, godly honor, is haster davar. It's a hidden matter. And Rabbeinu describes that by saying, asur lachkor. It's forbidden to look into this honor, the honor of Hashem. What does that mean? What's the idea? So the commentaries bring down this idea that the honor of Hashem is infinite, right? Hashem is infinite. The amazingness of Hashem is infinite. The honor of Hashem is infinite. It's better in such a case to just say nothing, to just not even get into it, than to try and start to give honor in this way. It's an interesting question that the Gemara brings down, by the way. In Shemon Esrei, we say all these things about Hashem. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, Hakel, Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanoira, Kel Elyon, right? We give all these praises of Hashem. He's great, He's strong, He is wondrous, right? And all these attributes of Hashem that we say, right? So the Gemara asks, how can we do such a thing? We have the ability to really talk about the amazingness of Hashem, right? We don't have the ability to do that. How dare we open our mouths and talk about Hashem this way? And the Gemara answers, the only reason we're allowed to do that is because these are the words that Moshe Rabbeinu used in talking about Hashem. So that's the way that we can praise Hashem in our tefillahs. If not, it wouldn't be fitting, right? It would be like, for example, imagine if a not so well-off person happens to be connected with like a billionaire, a really, really wealthy person, and a really hoity-toity billionaire, like a European old money, living in a big stone castle type of billionaire, right? With a very high stature and a certain way of living, right? And this person comes to them and says, oh, wow, meets the person and starts talking to them and sees that they have a certain car that they're with or whatever. He starts saying, oh, I really, this guy's amazing. He's got this type of car, and he's got this, and he's got this. I bet you this guy does well for himself. I bet you he probably makes, 7 figures a year. I'll bet you he lives in probably like a 5,000 square foot house, right? The guy is like insulted. Do you know that I live in a castle that's been in my family for generations, and I don't make 7 figures a year? I don't even know what I make. I'm a billionaire. How dare you talk to me like that? How dare you speak about me like that? Right? In the same sort of way, how could we start to talk about Hashem like this? The honor of Hashem is something that in this sense is to be kept sanua, is to be kept quiet, is private, right? Is not something that we can start to talk about and you wouldn't make a sefer. I'm going to now start to delineate the honor of Hashem. Because you couldn't do it. You can't actually do it. And since you can't come to an end, you can never finish it, you shouldn't even start, is the idea. One idea of why it's called Haster Davar, the honor of Hashem. Are you with me? Comments, questions for a few minutes here? No? Okay, let's go. Are you ready? Okay. Ve'iyefshar lizkois lechavod hazeh ela ayedei teshuvah. You cannot get this type of honor. You cannot merit to this type of honor except through teshuvah. Ve'ikar hateshuvah. K'sheyishma bizyoinoi yidoim ve'yishtaik. The main teshuvah, the main aspect of teshuvah, is when one hears their own embarrassment, hears their themselves being degraded, yidoim ve'yishtaik, and is quiet and silent. Kileis kavod. Let's hold it there for a second. So, when Rabbi Nachman says the ikar of something, he's not just writing to make it sound fluffy and thinks it sounds nice. The ikar teshuvah, the main aspect of teshuvah, is when one hears their own embarrassment, their own degradation, and is yidoim v'yishtaik, is silent. The commentaries explain over here. It says two words over here. Yidoim, silent, v'yishtaik, also means silent. What's the idea over here? And the commentaries explain that there's 2 levels of this over here. When a person hears their own embarrassment, someone stands up in front of someone and starts laying into them and telling them everything that they don't like about them and everything that's wrong with them. And they're quiet. There's 2 aspects of being quiet. There's, I'm standing here and I'm not saying anything, but I'm a boiling kettle on the inside. And I want to give it to this person with both barrels. And I'm so upset, I'm so angry. That's only one aspect of silence. I'm silent on the outside. Yidam v'yishtaik means I'm silent on the outside and I'm silent on the inside. I'm at peace with what's going on right now. What's the story? What's being accomplished over here? We're going to get to it. But in a certain sense, a person hearing their own embarrassment should be quiet and accept it with ahava, with love. Why? Because a person should know that everything that they're receiving at this moment, all these bizyonis, all these embarrassments, is based on my sins of the past. I need to hear this. It's based on the situation that I'm holding right now. I need to hear this. Yidem v'yishtaik. I should have this embarrassment because I need to have this embarrassment. Why? Why do I need to have this embarrassment? So, a person is going through their life and not doing the teshuvah they need to do. How does Hashem talk to us? How does Hashem help us to do teshuvah? What does He give to us? Who said that? Patches. He gives us patches. He gives us a little something every now and then, right? So He gives me a patch. He gives me something. He gives me an embarrassment. He has someone come in front of me and tell me exactly what they think about me in a negative way. So how do I view that person? So there's a mashal that we always talk about that was attributed to Rav Michael Dorfman, who was one of the Breslov leaders past generation. And he says this mashal of the dog and a stick, right? That if someone, how many times have we heard this already? We can continue to hear this every day if we have to, right? Someone has a dog and the dog is misbehaving. They take out the stick and they give the dog this is not an endorsement for violence against animals, but they give the dog a smack, right? And what does the dog do? The dog starts flaring its nostrils and baring its teeth and growling and biting the stick, right? He's angry at the stick, which is insane, of course, right? But he's not a thinking person. The dog, that's what he does. So it would be foolish, says Rav Michael Dorfman, if someone threw a rock at another person. Imagine the person picks up the rock and starts yelling at the rock. How dare you hit me? How dare you fly through the air and pick up speed and hit me? How dare you? Right? It's ridiculous, of course. So too, this is the way that we have to view every encounter in our life. Every negativity in our life, in particular, this aspect of embarrassment. If someone is giving me something, I have to know with full clarity that this is Hashem talking to me. This person is doing their job. This person is just the stick of Hashem. And what is Hashem doing to me? Why is He doing this to me? Because He's mad at me? Because He's angry? He loves me so much that He doesn't want to see me in a negative situation. He wants to see me succeeding. He wants to see me growing. He wants to see me accomplishing my purpose in the world. Right? So when this happens to me, what do I say? I say, oh boy, okay. Thank you, Hashem, for waking me up. I know that I haven't been the person that I'm supposed to be. I know I haven't been doing what I can do. I know I haven't been helping myself. I haven't been helping other people. I haven't been growing. I haven't been focusing on Hashem and building emunah. I haven't been doing it. So thank you, Hashem, for waking me up. Right? To feel that at that moment is accomplishing this aspect of Yidon v'Yishtaik. To be silent on the outside and silent on the inside. Does anybody identify with this at all? Has anybody experienced this? Yeah? Has anybody not experienced this? This is life. This is exactly what life is about. This is exactly what we face. And Baruch Hashem, let's thank Hashem again for sending us the words of Rabbi Nachman to prepare us and to help us face life in a way where we can handle these things and grow through them. Mamish. So another aspect that's important to see, we're going to get into it a little bit more, but is that we know that, how do we know? Rabbi Nachman is just bringing this out for the first time ever, that this aspect of embarrassment is connected to teshuvah, right? Is this just the first time it's ever been talked about? So some of the Rabbi Nosson explains that really we see this idea that what are the integral aspects of teshuvah? What does a person have to do if they're doing teshuvah? Like the technical laws of teshuvah. Does anybody know the main things that have to be done? Regret. Yeah. So regret, vidui devarim, and kabbalah lasid. That's regretting, charata, confession to Hashem, or to a holy person that you're connected to, as we saw before, and then the accepting on yourself not to do it again. Okay, that's the main things. The embarrassment does not have to come, the busha does not have to come from another person, necessarily. An integral part of teshuvah is standing in front of Hashem and being totally honest, and saying, you know what? This is what I've done, Hashem. I'm not the person I'm supposed to be, and you've given me lots of opportunities, and I keep failing. This is the way I'm behaving. But being honest. If you're not honest to Hashem, there's no hope for it, right? if we're doing vidui, let it all out. If you're doing hisbodedus and you're doing vidui over there, just let it all out. Just say all the words, everything I'm doing wrong. Let it out. And you're going to feel embarrassment. I'm not where I should be, right? This is limiting my own honor and raising up the honor of Hashem. This is saying that Hashem's giving me everything. Hashem created the whole world for me. What do we say? Bishvili nivra olam. Hashem created the whole universe for me. And how am I repaying Him? How am I standing up to that? I'm not doing so well to say this. And we'll caution each other that chas v'shalom, this cannot lead to depression. It's not that kind of look at myself. It's an honest look at myself. It's a heartbreaking look at myself, but only to break me, to break my heart, to enable me to look toward Hashem with 100% hope and 100% vision of coming close to Hashem, right? This is the idea of how it relates to teshuvah. So let's see how this comes out. Zok Rabbeinu, ki leis kavod below chaf. You can't have the word kavod without the letter kaf, the first letter. We have to get into a little bit of kabbalah here. That is pretty awesome stuff. There's a lot of kabbalah in this Torah, and there's a lot of revealed Torah and hidden Torah in this Torah. Leis kavod below kaf. You can't have the word kavod without the letter kaf. It's the first letter of the word kavod. Ve'akaf hu keser. And the kaf is the sphera of keser. Bechinas ekye, which is an aspect of the name of Hashem called ekye, which is translated as I will be, which we'll talk about. If you remember, when Moshe Rabbeinu asked Hashem what his name is, he said, Ekye asher ekye, I will be as I will be. And when he said, how are they going to believe me, Hashem, if I go back and tell the Bnei Yisrael in the Passover story? They're not going to believe me. He said, tell them Ekye sent you. Tell them that this name of Hashem, I will be, sent you. So, kavod, the letter chaf, the sphera of keser, and the name of ekye are all connected to teshuvah, and are all connected together. So how is the word kavod and the letter chaf connected to keser? So, I don't know what the level, the Kabbalistic understanding of everybody is over here, but let's do a little bit of an explanation. Everybody probably knows that in the realm of Kabbalah, in the realm of existence, in everything, there are 10 spheres. There are 10 emanations of Hashem. And the top one is Keser. It goes in most of the Kabbalistic texts. It's Keser, Chachma, Bina. Then there's another 6 that make up the next level, which are Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, and Yesod. And then Malchus is the bottom one. But Keser is the top. Sometimes, in certain situations, Keser is removed and you have Chachma, Bina, and Das, Chabad, right? But in most of the Kabbalistic texts, usually we're talking about Keser, Chachma, Bina. Okay, Keser is the top. Keser is the crown. The crown is also above the head. So in other words, Chachma and Bina are the intellectual faculties. Chachma and Bina are things that I can understand, are things that can work in my mind. Everybody knows, I'm sure, Chachma is like this flash of inspiration type of thinking, and Bina is understanding, is taking that and then using it and using one thing against another, Mevin davar mitoch davar is called understanding one thing from another. Chachma is masculine, Bina is feminine. Everybody knows this, yeah? So Chachma is the initial, it's the male contribution to creation is very short time, right? This is the attribute of Chachma, a flash of inspiration. The female contribution to creation, the female then takes that in and develops it, brings it into her, and becomes one with it, and develops it, and grows it into something tangible, and creates a human, right? Chachma is the initial flash. Bina builds everything. Bina is the builder, right? This is why in a household, there's a lot of jokes about men, right? Because women, often in their teva, in the real teva of a woman, is a person who just understands and thinks about all the time everything going on in the house, and thinks about all the schedules of all the different kids, and thinks about what they need and what they don't need, what to buy, what not to buy, what to get out of my house, what to bring into my house. It's always going and always working. She is bina-ing her house, right? That's what she's doing, yeah? And then, I don't want to make fun of men, but sometimes we don't really stand up to that level of amazingness when it comes to a household, right? Everybody knows that intuitively. Anyway, that's in the intellect. That's stuff I can think about. Then you have the rest of the next 6 spheres are corresponding to the body, their emotions, their action, and down to the bottom of Malchus. But Keser is a crown. Where does a crown sit? A crown sits above your head, meaning it's above my understanding. It's above my intellect. I can't grasp it. Keser. Keser is a hidden thing. It's totally hidden. Right? What else did we say was hidden? Kavod Elokim haster davar. The honor of Hashem is that type of thing that we can't get to. No matter what we do, it's above us. It's infinite, the honor of Hashem. And we're finite, so we can't quite reach that. So it's above us. It hovers above us. And if those who are into Chassidus and Kabbalah a little bit, it's a makif. It's something that's above our reach, right? We can't quite get it. So that's Keser. That's why it's connected to kavod. And it's connected to the first letter of kavod, which is the chaf, because it's 20. Now, in the Kabbalistic, what's called the hishtalshelus, which is the way that creation unfolds, coming from the infinite light of Hashem down to us over here. The first step is that everything comes from Keser. And Keser implants itself into all of these 10 spheres on the way down. And then it bounces back up again all the way to the top. So Keser transverses 10 spheres down to Malchus, and then goes all the way back up past those 10 spheres again, through those 10 spheres again, transversing how many spheres in total? 10 twice is 20. And of course, the letter Chaf is 20. So 20, the letter Chaf is representative of the sphere of Keser because of this, that it encompasses 10 spheres down and up. Two ways is the way that Chaf represents Keser. And this is a bechina of the name of Hashem, Ekye, which is a bechina of teshuvah. So how is this related to teshuvah? This is one of my favorite parts. Not mind-blowing yet, but just one of a very special part. So it says, Ki Ekye, this name of Hashem, Ekye, I will be. The Gemara says, the Zohar says about this, Da ana zamin lemeheve. What does that mean? It means that I'm ready to exist. Ekye, I am ready to exist. Hainu, koidem hatshuva, adayin ein lehavaya. Before I've done teshuvah, I don't actually have an existence. I don't actually exist yet. Ki'ilu adayin lo nishava be'olam. It's as if I have not existed in the world yet. How do we see such a thing? Everybody knows this mishna, but let's say it. Ki toiv lo shelo nivra mish nivra. Because it's better that I shouldn't have been created than I should have been created. Everybody knows this mishna, this machlokes. Right, so it's a machlokes between Hillel and Shammai. Went on for a really long time. Is it better that man should have been created or that man shouldn't have been created? Right? And it was a big machlokes back and forth. Finally, in the end, they tallied it up, and the vote came out that really it's better that we shouldn't have been created. But now that we're created, we should do everything we can to connect to Hashem. I'm paraphrasing. Right? Now that we're created, we got to do what we can to get back to our stature and our closest to Hashem. Right? So what's the idea over here? If I haven't done teshuvah yet, one of the commentaries explains, I'm not living like a yid. I'm not living the way that Hashem wanted me to live. I'm rather being drawn to my gashmiistic existence, to my animal urges. I'm living like a behema. I'm living like an animal. Right? What does an animal do? An animal sees its food, it goes and gets it. Doesn't make a bracha, doesn't do anything. It lives on instinct. It lives on its bodily desire. I'm just reacting to things and doing them, whatever I want. I'm not doing what I know that Hashem wants me to do. I'm not becoming a spiritual person. I'm living in the realm of Gashmis. I'm only living in my body as opposed to my soul. So I'm like an animal. I haven't begun to exist as a person yet. So I have a really interesting understanding of this also that I'll tell you guys. I think is really fantastic. It helps me a lot. So there's this idea that's brought in many places in Rabbi Nachman, and it happens to also be, Reb Chaim Kramer said, by the way, that anything in modern psychology that you find successfully in modern psychology, you will find in the writings of Rabbi Nachman, right? So this is a popular idea nowadays in the recent, maybe last decade or two. So it's very, very easy to not be living in the moment. To not be living for the time I am in, the existence I'm in right now. Right? How does it work? You can look at it two ways. We can be really pulled down by our past. Really easily. And we can think, I've been this type of person for so long. And people have told me this is the type of person that I am. And it's weighing down on me. And if you're depressed about something about yourself, about your own existence, so it really weighs you down and it pulls you down. And when it pulls you down, you can't do the things you want to do. You can't be the person you want to be. And you get more depressed about it. And it pulls you down more. And you're more living in the past. I remember the things that I did and I can't get out of them. Or I know I've been trying to do teshuvah on this thing for years. And I can't do it. I've already been trying for years. I can't do it. I guess I'm not good enough. I guess I can't do it. So I'm not even going to try. Or I'm going to give up really easily. That's because I'm living in the past. Rabbi Nachman says, quotes the Baal Shem Tov, beautiful Baal Shem Tov that everybody should always remember. The Baal Shem Tov says very clearly that person's existence is where their mind is. Whatever I'm thinking about, whatever's in my mind, is where my existence is. So, if what's in my mind is the pain of the past and all the negativity that I've experienced and my failures in trying to be a better person, that's what's on my mind, that's where I am. I'm not existing right now. I'm in the past. I'm existing in the past. Do you hear this? Right? Wherever my mind is, that's where my existence is. I'm not existing right now. I don't exist. I'm just a package of painful past experiences. So too with the future, right? The other aspect that can pull us off of our avodas Hashem so easily is I'm stressed about the future. I'm stressed about, anybody got anything? Money, right? Children, what's going to be with my children? What's going to be with money, right? What's going to be with my career? What's going to be, right? Am I ever going to amount to anything? I'm worried about the future, right? So if I'm focused on what's going to be with my financial situation and I've told you guys the story about the person with the CRA before, they're coming after them, and I'll say it quickly. Someone I knew came out all of a sudden that they owed the government $150,000. Their business didn't file taxes properly for the last number of years, and the person was totally shut down, totally distraught, couldn't do anything, right? And so I spoke to them, and we came out with some ideas about how we could see that maybe they could work around it and that they could take care of it. It's not the end of the world. They'll be able to deal with it. In the end of the story, they were able to deal with the CRA in a very nice way, and they got a payment plan, and they made money easily to pay it off and whatever. But the point is, for like 6 months, this person could not do anything, could not accomplish anything, could not have any normal interactions because they thought they were going to lose their house, right? Where was that person living? Especially with the hindsight that it was all fixed and none of this ever happened. They had in their mind an imagined, painful future that will never exist. And that's where they lived. That's where they existed. They existed in an imagined, painful future. Your existence is where your mind is thinking, right? That's where they lived. In a painful, imagined future that they never had to touch, right? So they don't exist. Until I've done teshuvah, until I've become the person that I want to be, I can't exist in the current moment. I can't exist in the current time. I'm not here, right? But once I can step back and I can connect to Hashem, I can give the honor to Hashem, I can have emunah, and I can leave these things aside, I can live in the current moment. I can start to exist, right? I can do what the words of Rabbi Nachman are saying. I am ready to exist. You hear this? I can exist now in the current time. So these are two ways to see it. My way is not so written in Rabbi Nachman. It's kind of my own thoughts, right? But even without that, if I haven't done teshuvah, I'm not living like the person I should be. So I'm not really here. I don't exist. I'm behaving like an animal. I'm not behaving like the human, like the holy person I can be. Zamin lemeheve. I'm ready to exist. This is why the name of Hashem, Ekyeh, Asher Ekyeh, I will be as I will be. This name I will be is the name of teshuvah. Because the name of teshuvah means I'm going to do it. I'm going to be this person. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do teshuvah. It's like the biggest name of chizuk also, right? Encouragement. I can do it. I'm going to do it. This is the name of Hashem, that's teshuvah. This is also, by the way, the name of Hashem that was given to take us out of Egypt. Because Hashem wasn't revealed yet. Hashem wasn't revealed in the world yet. Everything was hidden. Everything was the worst of the worst, the 49th level of Tumah, the biggest darkness. And Hashem says, Ekyeh, I'm going to exist. You're going to see me. Right? So we're running out of time here. So let's just finish a few more sentences, and then we'll... And when a person comes to purify himself, to do teshuvah, lasos teshuvah, az hu bebechinas ekyeh. When a person comes to do teshuvah and to purify themselves, now they are in this realm of ekyeh, of I'm ready to exist. There's going to be an existence for me in this world. In Aramaic, I'm ready to exist. And this is also the aspect of keser. Ki keser loshen hamtana. I think we have to hold it here because this is going to get too deep. And we're going to talk about hamtana, waiting for a long time, at least another 15 minutes. So next time we're going to speak about how this all comes together in the realm of teshuvah, in the realm of waiting, in the realm of being ready to exist, to become a new person, to have an existence in the world, to make a mark in the world, to give the honor only to Hashem, and how it's the bichin of the Surah of Keser. And we're going to see next week, we're going to get into the story of the Gemara that has to do with the advice for doing teshuvah is to hold off and wait. If you can be prepared for that. And then we're going to see some amazing, unusual gematrias and kabbalah that bring all this together into the realm of teshuvah. So shkoyach to everybody. Any questions that we want to go through before we finish? No? Thank you, everybody. Okay. Shkoyach. Yes. Remember, everybody's invited, and if you want to invite more friends to come, like I said, this is very special Torah that can give us all a lot of power. So let's do it. Shkoyach.
About for 2 weeks.